Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3 is largely responsible for the series' longevity.
You must be dreaming!
More than the previous two films, the special effects are better, the kills are more creative, and scenes are more imaginative and frightening. It was a fun movie, and the box office reflected that.
And the top money-making film this past weekend is Nightmare on Elm Street 3: Dream Warriors, with $8.8 million in ticket revenues.
For the very first time in history, a small independent film has swept the weekend box office grosses.
In fact, if you took away Three Men and a Baby, Fatal Attraction, Beverly Hills Cop Part 2, and a few other movies, The Nightmare 3 is the year's highest-grossing film.
Show some respect, buddy! This ain't your average drive-in movie schlock we got here!
He doesn't know what he's talking about. Nightmare on Elm Street 3 was king of the drive-in for 1987. Week after week, it played a double bill at the Canview with the original Witchboard. And check out this holiday Dusk Till Dawn marathon, where Nightmare 3 plays with Sho Kosugi's Pray for Death, Dawn of the Dead, and the original Halloween. That's like the greatest drive-in lineup of all time. Nightmare on Elm Street 3 was still playing at the Canview in November as the supporting feature for The Hidden. Incredibly, Nightmare on Elm Street 3 played on both the opening and closing day of the Canview 1987 season.
And the Oscar goes to Patricia Arquette, Boyhood.
The movie stars future Academy Award winner Patricia Arquette as one of the many Elm Street kids thrown into a mental hospital due to their Freddy dream attacks being misinterpreted as self-harm. Clearly, she's not a happy camper. Why do they have scalpels laying around the psychiatric hospital? They aren't doing any surgeries there unless they're doing lobotomies. Oh shit, are they doing lobotomies?
And the Oscar goes to Tom Hanks in Philadelphia.
She slices up future Academy Award loser Larry Fishburne, who, despite getting second billing, has the most thankless role in the movie. You could cut him out of every scene he appears in, and the story wouldn't be affected one bit. He's more useless than Indiana Jones in Raiders of the Lost Ark. Nancy from the original Nightmare on Elm Street returns. Even though she's only 21 or 22, she has a big shock of gray hair. It's a hard life keeping one step ahead of Freddy. She comes to the hospital as a new hotshot doctor with some experimental idea of how to treat these kids. Or maybe she was just pretending to be a doctor and managed to sneak in there with some phony credentials. I'm not sure. The movie doesn't make it clear, but I'm leaning towards the latter option.
We lost a kid about a month ago to Fairview. I don't know where he got the razors, but he cut off his own eyelids to stay awake.
What do you mean, you don't know where he got the razors? According to that last scene, you boobs just leave scalpels lying around. Nancy gets to know this breakfast club of new Elm Street kids. Besides Blondie, there's the Dungeons & Dragons nerd, the tough guy, goth girl, Renee Zellweger, the puppeteer.
They really ought to be carved out of wood, but they won't let me have a knife.
They won't let you have a knife? Don't worry. Sooner or later, I'm sure you'll just find one lying around. There's also a creepy mute kid who's always mooning over some hot nurse. When we first see him, he's got one of those prison tattooed teardrops, but then it disappears for the rest of the movie. So, I guess he just drew it on? Maybe he thought the nurse would be impressed if she thought he shanked some guy in the shower. Soon, Freddy is picking the kids off one by one. This whole pulling the kid by his tendons has to be the most gruesome image in the entire series. How long does this poor kid endure being tortured? The mute kid sees what's happening and sounds the alarms, summoning all the kids and leading them back to his room, so they can all watch helplessly while the puppeteer falls to his death. What was the point of bringing everyone back to your room, dummy? Shouldn't you have at least tried going to the tower? Maybe you could have gotten there in time and pulled him down.
Listen to me, Joy. Philip killed himself. Now that's a cowardly thing. That's an empty thing. He let himself down. He let all of us down.
Wow. That's the head doctor saying that? What an asshole. And I don't even think that's the screenwriters trying to make him look bad. They actually think that's a reasonable thing for a doctor to tell a bunch of at-risk youth. The next patient killed by Freddy is the TV addict. Her scene allows for a funny cameo by Dick Cavett and Zsa Zsa Gabor, whom nobody probably recognizes today.
Can I ask you something?
Certainly.
Who in the fuck would you think?
They would be about the equivalent of seeing David Letterman and Paris Hilton in the movie. I feel the need to point out once again how much better practical effects look than CGI. This scene has a unique look that makes the images surreal and creepy. The slickness and perfection of CGI denies us these one-of-a-kind visuals. A lot of work went into shooting this scene, and boy does it pay off. Man, Larry Fishburne must feel bad about all these kids dying on his watch. It's lucky he hasn't lost his job. Now this is a weird little scene that sticks out. The sort of goth girl gets sexually harassed by one of the orderlies. It's the same orderly we see making off with the mute's crush. Since we have 2 scenes of him acting like an asshole to our heroes, surely that must mean the movie is setting him up to have something awful happen to him, like Freddy gets him somehow?
Fuck off!
But nope, we never see the guy again. Maybe he got transferred to the same hospital Sarah Connor was stuck in. Together, the surviving kids all enter Freddy's dream world. Each of them has a special dream power they think will protect them against Freddy. Now the first girl is doing a good job at kicking Freddy's ass, until he uses her former heroin addiction to break her down. That at least makes sense, he's using her own nightmares to psych her out. In the next scene, Freddy tries using the image of the Dungeons & Dragons kid's wheelchair to break him down, but it doesn't work. The kid is stronger and overcomes Freddy's ableist nightmare. He's gonna whoop Freddy's ass. But Freddy just says,
Sorry, kid. I don't believe in fairy tales.
And kills him. Turns out, Freddy is just playing along. When he wants to, he'll kill you. All that stuff about dream powers is total horseshit. You can't save yourself. What a nihilistic movie. While the kids are fooling around in the dream world, the asshole doctor and Nancy's drunk father are burying Freddy's bones. We have a great stop-motion skeleton fight, clearly inspired by Jason and the Argonauts. Now if you look close, you can see Freddy's skeleton is wearing the razor glove, which contradicts the first movie when we saw Nancy's mother kept it as a gruesome souvenir. Nightmare 3 made Freddy a true pop culture hero. Never mind he started out as a child-molesting murderer. Pretty soon, kids could buy Freddy action figures and replicas of his glove. But my favorite bit of late 80s Freddy memorabilia has to be Topps Fright Flicks trading cards.
Shenanigans! It's been a lot of fun, shenanigans. But now we've got to run. It's funny how the minutes seem to fly.